You know what, Andy? It took me a while to see it at first, but you are clearly as addicted to male attention as your friend Danny is to vaping.
If you want to psychoanalyze someone, why don't you start with your crazy ass sister? Hmm?
All right, go ahead. Emotionally run off, just like you did when you dumped me for Gary.
Oh my, for the last time, I was protecting you.
Yeah, so this scene played out exactly how I predicted it would. The fact that Andi will not be able to handle being in the hot seat when Jordan calls her out for her reaction to Penelope acting all flirty with Robin in front of him. And as a result, she's going to get up and leave in a huff. And well, that's it. That's pretty much how the scene plays out. So yeah, another sneak peek released yesterday, which is funny. I think this is the first time in 2 weeks we've gotten a sneak peek on a Tuesday. Typically we get the Monday sneak peek, Tuesday is silence, and then Wednesday we might get one or two more sneak peeks and the promotional photos before an episode drops. But yeah, this is pretty much what happened. So you got Jordan who's calling out Andi because whatever occurs over at the table with Robin and Penelope, it gets under her skin where she puts on a show. And like Andi says, look, we're not here to talk about that. You asked me to come talk in person, so we're here. What's going on? And he's like, well, at first I thought we could talk about where we stand in our relationship. And I'm thinking to myself, she is still engaged to Gary. You have no relationship. But then it's like, well, we need to talk about, your lingering feelings for Robin because of what you just did in front of me. And Andi denies it. Basically, it's just the fact that yet again, you have one of these women who cannot handle when they are rightfully being called out by somebody via deflecting, manipulation, and acting like a victim. And it's the fact that he's like, look, I think you at least owe me an explanation. Oh, I've been doing nothing but trying to protect you ever since, we got together. It was me protecting you and your sister from Gary. And it's like, you know what? I think you're addicted to male attention like your friend Danny is to vaping. I'm like, ooh, that's a low blow. Oh, if you're trying to psychoanalyze somebody, why don't you start with your crazy ass sister? And I'm thinking, wow, yikes. So yeah, it's just like a back and forth between these two. And I got two questions. Like, number one, do Penelope and Robin get up and leave, or do they stay at their table? Honestly, they don't really have a reason to leave. I mean, if nothing else, Andy's probably the one who lashes out. And from there, it leads to the end of the clip where Andi gets up to leave and Jordan just yells out in front of the whole restaurant, "You're still in love with Robin Audrey." And I'm like, wow, last name, dude, really? And then she turns around and yells, "Yes." Now, I don't think Andi means yes as in she's in love with Robin. She just does it because she's doing it to kind of piss off Jordan. And for real, at this point, I just hope that I hope there's no hope of reconciliation. There is literally no reason for these two to get back together whatsoever. Because Andi, she's just not a good person. And the way she's been moving, I mean, I don't know how y'all feel about this kind of thing, but I remember being told, as I got older, like, hey, be careful who you marry, because if once you marry someone, you marry their family too. And this being black is one of those things where it's like, if you show interest in, a woman of a different complexity, especially if they're white, make sure their family don't have like, anything anti-blackness in them, where it's like, because truth be, and I'm not trying to make this super personal, but I'm trying to look at it from the perspective of, okay, let me try to take something out of this, make it a bit relatable to me. And I'm like, I kind of see where the story's going, but yeah, I've been told several times as I was, from girls, whether it be in high school, college, like, oh yeah, I like you, Jeremy, but my family said I can't date a black guy. Yeah, I've been told that many times. But it's like, yeah, it's one of those things where you don't want to stay where you're not wanted, and nor do I want to just marry somebody. And it's like her having an act of rebellion against her family, and like, nah, I don't want to do that. And I look at it from the perspective of Andi getting together with Jordan, knowing his sister hates her, and it's like, nah. I mean, family functions would never be the same. It's like, this heifer slapped me in the face. Like, nah, I can't even be in the same room for, let alone share, a bloodline if I have kids with her brother. Heck to the no. Because Let's be real. She doesn't even love Jordan like that. But Jeremy, she was ready to give it all up, to sacrifice herself to, marry Gary to save him. I'm sorry, but you still can't convince me that Andi is A, over Gary, B, truly loved Jordan that much, even though she broke up with him. Yes, granted, it was the whole Gary made her do it. Broke up with him less than 24 hours after admitting I love you. It's just no. Because remember, she took things in that relationship, okay, not physically, but she took things between them slow emotionally because of the whole Gary situation. The prime example of a woman will give a man who treats her like dirt everything. But then when a good man finally comes along, she makes him work for it. That's essentially what Jordan was to her. It's like, no, well, I haven't said I love you because what happened with my last relationship and she, Gary and whatnot. And Jordan's like, oh, okay, yeah, all right. So when she finally does say I love you, no. And not to mention their whole relationship was a lot of, I wouldn't say toxicity, but a lot of mind games, because the entire relationship, Andi and Penelope were moving behind Jordan's back to get incriminating evidence on Gary. Like, do you really think that Jordan would be cool with Penelope being in harm's way just for the sake of Andi's investigation? No. So I don't really think there was anything going on her end. It was definitely a one-sided relationship as far as I'm concerned, but that's just me. I mean, probably salt in the wound for Gary that Andi put in there to know that she was in a healthy relationship with the brother of the woman that he was engaged to and impregnated while seeing Andi. That's pretty much how I look at it. But yeah, it's just a clip of Andi showing her ass and Jordan being overly emotional, just like Rich. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I just hope that after this season, these guys are gone. When you really think about it, I don't see a reason for any of these men to be in season 9. Rich isn't, Sabrina doesn't want to have a baby with Rich. Yeah, they can do it the old-fashioned way, but in terms of freezing her eggs, she doesn't want to use Rich's sperm. That's quite obvious, and he's emotional about it. Tony, I feel like the whole fallout with the airline thing, these two aren't going to be together much longer. And when it comes to Jordan, they're broken up. Andi's trash, and there's no reason for them to get back together. So, yeah, I think these guys might have their swan song in this season. And let's not blame the new writers, because at the end of the day, Tyler was the one who introduced them. Just keep that in mind. But with that being said, let me know your thoughts on this clip. I really want to see how petty Penelope is going to be, because it's going to be hilarious to see Andi been out of shape. So like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.